Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in this video, I'll be unboxing the SkyTeam Turbulence expansion, which incidentally doesn't come in a box, so I suppose it's an unwrapping. But we just want to see what's inside. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I am set to open up the SkyTeam Turbulence expansion. I just bought this 1 week actually to the day before this video published. I was lucky enough to get it at PAX Unplugged in 2024, so they had them on sale and I scooped it up. So it comes in just this nice paper wrapped container. There's no box. All the components here will easily fit inside the main SkyTeam box. You do, of course, need SkyTeam to play. You can't play this by itself. It's an expansion. If you're watching the channel, you know how that works. Let's get this thing open. We'll try and get all the components sort of on the bottom. I don't think they really have much room to move in there, but use a pair of scissors. Carefully cut this open. There we go. We're unboxed. We did it. And that's just about it. So this expansion is adding a few new modules, mostly just new missions or scenarios, I suppose. So it comes with an expansion rulebook. It's not terribly long. It's 12 pages. So we've got a couple pages here at the beginning to tell you about the new modules that work like this. There are a couple of scenario-specific rules for some of these new levels, which are pretty cool. And then for each of the new levels that we have, or each of the new scenarios, they've got, of course, the the little one paragraph box that kind of just gives you the introduction to the level and tells you what modules you're going to need. So we have 3 of the easy or green scenarios. Let's see how many of the yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. And then the red, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the most difficult, the black levels. So there's some really cool ones in here. For example, a landing in Antarctica. I really like that. The new modules are pretty cool. They're not especially, I don't want to say difficult's the wrong word to use. They don't have a lot of rules overhead. It's just really a lot of, I've said this before on this channel, what I like in an expansion, more of the same. We're not adding a lot of new stuff. So we've got some new levels here. You can see, I'll just go through them so there's not that many. This one's pretty short. We'll come back to Punchouts. 2-sided, very similar. You'll notice these alarms, they go with this new alarm module. So I'll show you that in a moment, but that'll be on a few of these. Wow, look at that. Like way to the right, way to the left. Very specific there. Some of these are pretty cool. Some of the green ones, a lot of these black dice at the beginning. So it's going to be high variability in the setup. A lot of alarms on the back here. There's only 6 alarms available in the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this track. So even if you're able to skip, some of these by advancing twice, you're still going to have potentially all the alarms. 4 black dice. I don't think we saw that in the base game for any scenarios. This one's really got you going left, right, left, right, left, right, which is fun. Not so much for the passengers, but and we'll set these special pieces aside. We'll come back to those. We're just looking at the scenarios. These are some of the longer ones. A lot of alarms there. And then you can see these penguins here. This is the Antarctica one. The penguins just replace the airplanes. It's not a new mechanic. So you've got these punch-outs, cardboard punch-outs of these, there we go, penguins, which they admit in the manual, like, yeah, we know penguins don't fly. But it's just kind of fun since you're doing this. I don't, it's just taking the radio function. I don't know how you're radioing ahead to get these penguins out of the way. I don't know if they're like on the runway or what, but penguins, there you go. And here's the last one. So that's those. Those are all the new scenario cards. And then we've got these altitude cards. There's 2 new ones, A, B, C, and D. Obviously double-sided. So this is A, and you'll notice that A and B maintain the reroll token at 2,000 feet. So this is similar to the the green-yellow altitude track that you have in the base game. But then we've also got these new icons, low visibility, which is a cool mechanic. Every time you have low visibility, then instead of rolling all 4 of your dice at the beginning of the round, you roll 2, and you choose one and you place it, and then you keep the other, and then the next time you roll another one. So like you can't quite see as far ahead. I think that's a pretty nice mechanic. And then this other symbol that you'll see here is Turbulence. And when you have Turbulence, every round you roll all of your remaining dice, and then you have to choose from that. Or I think I said every round, every turn rather. So, you start, you roll all 4, you place one, then the next round you've got 3 left, you re-roll all 3, and then you place one of those. So the Turbulence makes it hard to predict what's going to happen. And then C and D are like the backside of the base game altitude track, where there is no reroll token at 2,000 feet. So on this one, you'll see low visibility here at 4,000 to 1,000 feet. The backside, the B1, has turbulence from 5,000 feet to 2,000 feet. This one, you're going to see both. So you've got turbulence at 5,000 and 4,000, and low visibility at 3,000, 2,000, and 1,000 feet. And then the backside of this one on D, you've got turbulence from 5,000 to 2,000 and low visibility from 3,000 to 2,000. So you have them both on this. So in that case, you would have only, at the start of the round, you'd roll 2 dice and place 1. And then the next time, instead of rolling 1 so that you still have 2 to choose from, you would take the one you have left and one of your remaining ones and roll them both. So then you're re-rolling the 2 every time. So it's super tricky. So these will be fun to play with. And let's go back to the punch-outs here. So there's this alarm track, or alarm board. I guess we don't really need the board. And there are 6 alarms, so we can take a quick look at those. 1, 2. A little tough to punch these out, if I'm being honest. I've punched out a lot of cardboard in my time. And then there's 6 of these penguins, and then 2 more buttons here. These 2 buttons are not anything new. These are just in case you lost some of your old buttons. But if you have the Brain Bucket Games upgrade for your Sky Team game, then you're not going to lose your buttons because they're permanently mounted. So make sure you go to the description, find brainbucketgames.etsy.com, and go grab some of those because they're pretty great. You can find a link in the description to another video where I go over those pieces in detail. But let's take a look at these alarms. So whenever you have the alarm module on whichever scenario you're playing, such as this one here, you mix these all up face down, and you will randomly, when it's time to, when your round starts, if you've got an alarm in your window, you draw one of them, and then that effect is ongoing until you turn it off. So let's look at the 6 different effects that you could get and how they work. So this one is, you can no longer take the concentration action where you make a cup of coffee until either player places a 1 on this alarm track. Once a 1 has been placed here, then this has been deactivated. You can go back to making coffee, but until that's done, you cannot use those actions on the main board. Now, as an interesting aside, there is one of the cards in the base game, like the bonus ability card, says that if both the pilot and the co-pilot place the same number on the axis, that's like the the roll or the level indicator. If you place the same number, you gain a cup of coffee. That's not the same as taking the coffee action, so I don't think that that's affected by by drawing this alarm. This purely stops you from being able to place dice on those spaces and gaining the bonus. Number 2 is the pilot, as long as this alarm is active, the pilot can no longer do anything to get the landing gear ready until the co-pilot places a 2 here. So I think that's really interesting, and you're going to see that on all the rest of these alarms where the penalty is affecting the pilot and only the co-pilot can reactivate it. So for dice number 3 here, the pilot can no longer. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke on this last one. This one is the landing gear until the co-pilot places a 3 here. This one is the brakes. Can no longer do anything about the brakes until a 2 is placed by the co-pilot. This is the landing gear can't be deployed at all until the co-pilot places a 3. This one here, the co-pilot, if you draw this alarm, can no longer do anything to deploy the flaps until the pilot places a 4 here. This one, the pilot can no longer use the radio until the co-pilot places a 5 on this spot. And then this is the mirror of that. The co-pilot can no longer use the radio until the pilot places a 6 here. So again, you're going to take these, you're going to flip them all upside down and shuffle them. And so when you have an alarm in your starting window, you're going to draw one of these at random and you're not going to know which one it is. And then you can add it to your board until you have successfully deactivated it. And the effect is, immediate once you reveal it. So that's a neat little module. It's not terribly complicated, but it definitely adds another trick to the bag. And of course, with the 20 new scenarios that are included in this expansion, like there's just that much more replayability, and you'll notice a lot of them. This expansion skews much more difficult than the scenarios that come in the base game. There's just more of the more difficult ones. So if you've kind of played through the base game a few times, and you're getting pretty good at it, and you've seen what it has to offer, there's going to be a lot of new stuff here to keep you engaged. But by no means do you need this to play the base game. There's still plenty in that box. And then there's a couple other neat little modules that I want to try and point out while I'm thinking of it. Okay, so one of them, I don't know if you can quite see, but it's the symbol here that says 5,000. When you see that, whichever altitude track you're using, you just start at 5,000. You've got one less round to get, to land. So that's a really simple module to implement. And then the other one is called Total Trust. Where is that? Oh, there we go. I probably passed it a couple times, but we'll look at this one. So there's this little symbol here of like a speaker with an X. And so whenever your round ends and that symbol is in the window, you are not allowed to talk in that sort of preparation phase where you would normally talk before rolling your dice at the beginning of the round. So for one reason or another, there's just like there's a problem in the cockpit. It's loud. It depends on the scenario. But whenever you have that symbol, you're no longer allowed to plan ahead of the next round before you roll your dice with your partner. So that's going to make it really takes that communication piece, which is so critical to this game, and it pushes it even further. So I thought those were worth mentioning too. That's pretty neat. But yeah, that's what's in this not box, but this pack. And if you like what you have in SkyTeam, this is, again, sort of more of the same. It's going to make it more difficult just with these modules. Nothing's making it easier. It's adding more more wrinkles into how you play, and then just more scenarios that are at higher difficulty. So if that's something that you think you would like, then that's what you're going to get in this expansion. That means it's probably for you. And I also want to point out some of the new scenarios are really cool, though. I know there's one where your landing gear is stuck and you cannot deploy it, and so that one's kind of rad. And there's another where you're just out of fuel and your engines don't work anymore, so you're just gliding down, and you play without your engines, which is pretty wild too. So definitely very creative, cool stuff in here that largely just makes use of all the existing mechanics that you love from SkyTeam already. And kudos to the publisher, Scorpion Mask, as well. I kind of love that this whole expansion fits in the base game box, and that there's so little packaging needed for this expansion as well. So this envelope that it came in is fully compostable and recyclable, so that's pretty nice. There's There's no plastic in here. All the ink is made of soy. Like, I think they really went out of their way to be responsible at how this was packaged and produced. So that's pretty great. So this is the Turbulence expansion to Sky Team. If you've got any specific questions about it, just let me know in the comments, and I can help answer that for you. And if you missed it, check out my solo playthrough of the original Sky Team. It is a fan-made solo variant. There's no solo variant in the game, including in this expansion. There's not a solo variant introduced, but you could play all of these new scenarios and all this new expansion content using that fan-made solo variant that I played through previously. So you can check that out if you like. But I think that's all I've got to say about this expansion. So if you're still here, feel free to subscribe. If you haven't done that, consider leaving a like and a comment so that I know that you enjoyed this content and I know to make more of it. And be sure to share it with anybody else who you would like to be your co-pilot. But that's what I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching Table for One. I will see you next time.